Hello there guys and welcome back to the channel. Today I have some T-34-85 gameplay for you. However, I must say one thing before we start this video. I do apologize for this one being a little bit later than usual. That's because I've been relatively sick for the past week and really didn't feel like doing anything regarding to recording and stuff like that. So, it's a bit later, but I hope it's not too bad. Now, for the T-34-85, it relatively recently got its BR increased to 5.7 from 5.3, but to be honest, it really doesn't suffer very much from it because it is still as good as it always has been. Now for the game, we are playing on Eastern Europe. We had a little bit of a collision back there, which is, well, a little bit unfortunate because especially on this map, I want to get into position very quickly to be very aggressive. Right here we're going to have a little stopping as well because I want to get in between them, but then they start driving again. So it's not the greatest, but what can you do? Now, to get into position early is not necessarily the most important thing in the game. It will help you a little bit, but it very often won't be a substantial game changer for you. Now, I always do this. I look down this road when I'm driving towards the enemy because, you know, if someone drives right in front of that, you at least have eyes on and you have your gun pointed towards them. And then I spot myself the front end of an M18. So I put a nice shot into his transmission, making him unable to move. I move up further and put another shot into him, taking out the rest of his crew. So that is our first kill already, so definitely a decent start of the game. Now, I'm going to push up with this Russian Panther because, especially in the T-34, I like to be very aggressive because it is a tank that allows for you to be aggressive. It has good enough reverse that you can also get out of problems very quickly. Now I take a quick stop, not necessarily completely stopping, taking a shot into another M18 that a T5 critted, taking him out as well. And then, suddenly, I don't know where this guy was looking, but I did not see him, and he should have really taken me out, because I was just not paying attention to him. Now, I try and check behind his wreck, because I think I hear another engine, but then I realize it is most likely going to be the friendly Panther. Now, I saw an M8 Scott right up ahead, but he moved away just before I could shoot him, so I'm going to set up here to try and ambush him. Now, he comes out, and I just put a nice shot into his side, taking him out completely with one shot. Now right here is something you should never do. As you see, there is a Sherman right up ahead, and he pokes out completely with his entire tank to take a shot at an enemy, and then doesn't even bother to move back into cover. And that is always something you should not do. You should always, at all times, expose the least amount of your tank as possible. So we are going to be pushing up aggressively again, but we do get interrupted by an enemy rocket strike that takes out one of our tracks and takes out our transmission. But I have a very good crew on the T-34-85. I actually have it aced, not by purchasing it, but by playing it so much. Now because of that, my tank is already repaired, so we can continue our advance towards their spawn. Now what I'm thinking here is going around the main corner that we see up ahead, or just taking this little, well, alleyway, I guess I would call it. Now I do kind of get stuck here, but it doesn't really matter because we managed to get ourselves free almost instantly again. Now we do see that there is a friendly KV-122 up ahead, so I'm not too worried about any enemies being here, but you always have to check the corner either way, and that's when we spot a M18. We put a shot into his front and we take out all of his crew members. So we are going to be pushing up further towards the A cap, and we're actually going to go cap it because none of our team is at the moment relatively close enough to try and get it, and we're basically there, so why not? While I do this, I am keeping an eye on the spawn though, because the enemy team is not completely wiped out yet, and they can definitely still spawn a tank, and that would be very unfortunate if they manage to get a shot into me. Now we are decapping Alpha, and I quickly check the enemy team list, and I see that there are still a fair amount of people of their team alive, and that is when I spot myself 2 enemy targets. Now I go for the M6 first because he is an actual tank and can actually very easily kill us if we don't watch out. We put a shot into his engine, making him stop, and then we put another shot into his crew compartment. Now there's an M19, I try and take a shot, but I don't know exactly where that shot went. I do believe it hit, but I guess it just didn't. Now I put another shot into him, taking out 2 of his crew members. I want to go and chase him, but then he actually stops right there, and I try and go for him, but then our friendly takes him out. Now that we have captured the A zone, I'm going to proceed towards their spawn to try and win the game. Now, as I move towards them, I already see something moving in the distance, and I put a shot into it, and it turns out that it is another enemy M6. We put a nice shot into his frontal armor, taking him out with 1 shot. So, after the M6 is being dealt with, we move forward again to try and get towards their spawn to try and see if we can find the last few enemies. But then I actually notice someone that is not actually at their spawn. He's up at the windmill, and he's been sitting there the whole game, and this is a little bit of an unfortunate shot because I would have most certainly killed him if I hit the upper frontal glacis, but I didn't. So for the next minute or two, nothing really interesting is going to be happening because there's one guy that is still alive and that hasn't died yet, so he must be somewhere on the map. So if we want to win by eliminating the team, we will have to find him. But we actually don't, because he will start to capture the B zone in a bit. So I will be back with you once that happens. So when our friend decided to go and cap the B zone, I decided to go back and try and take him out so that we can actually finally win the game. Now I'm hurrying back there to try and actually get the kill, because 8 kills is obviously nice, but a 9th would definitely not hurt. I'm just looking around because that yak was actually pulling some pretty crazy maneuvers when he flew over us. But that is besides the point now. We managed to spot ourselves the enemy. I actually overshoot a little bit, but it doesn't matter because I just point the gun to his likely position where he will poke out, and we managed to take him out. Now, that is going to be it for today, guys. I do hope you enjoyed. As I said, I do apologize for this one being a little bit later than usual, and also that it may be a little bit shorter than usual, but I just haven't been feeling too well this week, so I guess this will have to do for now. Anyways, as I said, I do hope you enjoyed, and I will catch you in the next one.